backdrop analysis, today we dive deep into Danny Brown's Ain't It Funny, a track that feels less like a song and more like a descent into madness. From the album Atrocity Exhibition, named after a Joy Division track, plays out like a fragmented nightmare exploring addiction, trauma, and the harsh contradictions of fame. In the first verse of Ain't It Funny, Danny Brown opens by showing off his lyrical skills.
Verbal couture, parkour with the metaphors, the flow house of horror, then photo with metal doors. Hence, bitch, 6 cents with a no strip. Mind sky dice, living bumps in the cockpit.
Verbal couture, parkour with the metaphor. It's not just about bragging, it's about survival. He's weaving through chaos, knowing full well that control is just an illusion. The tone shifts quickly when he raps, sniffing bumps in the cockpit. The cockpit suggests chaos, not control. He's not steering, he's crashing. And it's less about drug use and more about spiraling into a free fall that he can't stop. The cockpit metaphor really highlights that loss of control. Instead of piloting his life, Brown is plummeting. And he's fully aware of where he's headed. It's a constant struggle between maneuvering through life and being helpless to the chaos surrounding him. The more he tries to steer, the more inevitable his fall becomes. The line, "Your work killing fiends cause you cut it with fentanyl," gives us a stark look at the harsh realities of the drug trade. Fentanyl, a synthetic opioid that's wreaked havoc on communities, represents more than just addiction here. It's the deadly cost of profit. And what makes this hit even harder is how Danny Brown pairs this with Appraisal the Wristwatch, pointing out how people chase luxury and wealth, but at a steep price, the lives of addicts. Brown isn't just commenting on it, he's part of it, complicit or maybe just trapped. This contrast between materialism and death is unsettling, showing that success in this world is often built on destruction. It's not just about survival anymore, it's about thriving off others' pain. Danny knows the brutal truth. Addiction fuels this vicious cycle where wealth and death are intertwined, feeding off each other, leaving no one untouched.
Funny how it happened, whoever would imagine that joke's on you, but say no one laughing.
When we get to the pre-chorus, the bitterness really starts to show. That joke's on you, but Satan's the one laughing. Here Danny flips the whole idea of control upside down. He's acknowledging that no matter how successful or clever he is, the real power isn't in his hands. It could be the drugs, or maybe it's just the larger forces that trap people in these cycles. And Satan's laughter isn't just symbolic, it's like a reminder that no matter how much you fight, the downfall is already set in motion. Satan laughing is Brown's way of saying the game is rigged from the start. It's as if the joke is life itself. No matter how hard you try to dodge the pitfalls, something darker is always pulling the strings. That laughter is cruel because it underscores how pointless resistance feels. Brown seems to admit that no matter how smart or defiant you are, you can't outwit addiction, trauma, or the forces working against you. It's a grim realization that the destruction is inevitable and that you're powerless to stop it. The chorus, "Ain't It Funny How It Happens," feels like a twisted mantra, capturing the relentless cycle of addiction. The repetition hammers home the idea that life's downward spiral is inevitable, almost predictable. And when he says funny, he doesn't mean it's actually humorous. It's laced with sarcasm, obviously. He's painfully aware that his fate was always sealed, and this phrase becomes his way of acknowledging it. The humor here is dark and cynical. There's no real laughter. Only bitter realization that life can fall apart exactly as expected. It's like he's pointing out that the outcome was never in doubt. He was always heading towards disaster, and the chorus is just his way of saying, well, of course, this is how it ends. In the second verse, Danny Brown breaks down the brutal irony of his life with the line, "Broke serving fiends, got rich, became an addict." It's a way of saying that even after climbing out of poverty, he's still stuck in the same destructive cycle, just on the other side of it now. He once was the one that sold the drugs that fed others' addictions, and now, with money and fame, he's feeding his own. The phrase octopus in a straitjacket is a vivid and unsettling image. It's like saying no matter how much potential or freedom he thinks he has, he's completely restricted by his own demons. Even with fame and success, he's trapped. It highlights the harsh truth that no matter how much wealth or status you have, one can't break the chains of addiction. It's this sense of being stuck, no matter how far he's come, that really drives this point home. He's reached the top, yeah, but the chains that held him down haven't loosened, they've just become more invisible.
Ain't it funny how it happened? No way to mask it. I became has-beens, rolling up the $100 bill till they cash.
There's this sense of inevitability when Brown raps. Ain't it funny how it happens? No way to mask it, a lot became has-beens. He's seen this story play out before. People who rise only to crash and burn. It's like he's already seen himself among them, acknowledging that success isn't safety. It just buys more time before the fall. And what makes this hit even harder is the lack of resistance in his words. He's not fighting the outcome, he's expecting it. Brown's cynicism here is thick, and he knows the game. No way to mask it. This feels like an admission that no matter how much you try to cover up the cracks, the collapse is just around the corner. It's as if he's walking toward a fate he's long accepted, knowing there's no real way out, only a slow descent. In the third verse, Danny Brown's reflections hit even harder and feel more personal. When he raps, "Staring in the devil's face, but you can't stop laughing." He's looking destruction right in the eye, fully aware of the chaos around him. This laughter isn't joyful, it's empty. A defense mechanism against the absurdity of his situation. It's like he knows he's headed for disaster, but at this point, it's almost routine. That repetition emphasizes it. This isn't a one-time thing. He's stuck in a cycle, facing his demons time and time again, knowing full well how things will end, but feeling powerless to change course. And instead of fighting it, he's laughing along with the devil, as if destruction has become such a constant presence that it's almost comforting in its inevitability. It's not just about a reckless moment, it's about living in that space of chaos and recognizing that the devil is no longer a stranger but a familiar face that he can't escape from. And one of the heaviest lines in the song is when Danny raps, Here he's pointing out that addiction and trauma don't just affect individuals, they're passed down through generations, trapping families and communities in cycles of pain. And it's not just his personal battle, it's a fight that feels almost unavoidable. It's like it's embedded in his DNA. And then there's the line, Brown's blunt dismissal of rehab isn't just bravado. In his world, asking for help feels like admitting defeat. Final lines aren't celebrating wild excess. Instead, they highlight how empty those highs really are. It's a moment before another crash, where drugs and distraction offer nothing more than a temporary escape. It's not about joy anymore. It's about accepting that the cycle never really stops. And in the end, Ain't It Funny isn't just a story about addiction. It's about embracing the absurdity of self-destruction. Danny Brown doesn't just ask for help or give warnings. He's fully aware of his downfall, and rather than fighting it, he's laughing. The whole song is drenched in dark irony, and he knows the inevitable outcome, and so does the listener. It's a grim realization that sometimes the only thing left to do is laugh along with the chaos. Thanks for watching Mic Drop Analysis. Till next time.